I've never thought that I reached this mark. I just grinded my way here. Trading has always been what I've wanted to do, even as I was losing, because I just love looking at charts so much and guessing what's going to happen. The final missing puzzle, the jigsaw, was actually my psychology. It was really the final missing puzzle to change me from unprofitable to profitable. What I like about Quant Tekel first and foremost is really the value, because I'm a sucker for value on prop firms. For me, prop firms is about, I treat it like a business. If you want to keep your expenses as low as possible, and Quant Tekel, they have one of the best values, as most people already know out there.
Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new trader interview here with Quant Tekel. I'm sitting here today with Tiltboy, who literally just went over the $1 million mark in prop firm withdrawals, which is absolutely insane. And Quant Tekel was the prop firm to push him over that mark, with almost $97,000 in withdrawals from Quant Tekel alone. So welcome Tiltboy, thank you for chatting with us today.
Hi Ethan, thank you for having me here.
So how does it feel to get to that point of withdrawing that much from prop firms? Was it a really difficult journey?
Oh, definitely it was. I've been trading for a long time, but for the last 2 years, it's been really smooth sailing. When I started, I've never thought that I reached this mark, and then probably towards the start of the year, I start thinking that it's really going to be possible, and I just grinded my way here.
How long did it take you to get to the point where it was smooth sailing? You said for the last 2 years it was smooth sailing. How long before that were you struggling?
I started trading since 2006 or 2007. When I started, there were no YouTube, things like this, and the brokers were horrible. And basically I was just gambling. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just guessing up or down, look at the chart and see that it's been so high, it's moving so much, and then it's time to sell, and then I don't care about the leverage, everything. I'm total newbie at that time. It happened for quite a while, at least a few years, that I've been gambling without really understanding what I'm doing. Since then, been in and out of the markets for years as I continue to deposit into personal accounts and blowing it, and the cycle just keeps repeating. Trading has always been what I've wanted to do, even as I was losing, because I just love looking at charts so much and guessing what's going to happen. So it's never really worked for me, and even when I was losing so much, didn't really lose my enthusiasm for it. And then I started trading props. Of course, first was with FTMO. I guess it's probably one of a very few prop firms that I'm profitable with. Spent probably 20 work-K in challenges with them, but failed to get any payouts. And that was in 2021. So I was unprofitable on prop firms for almost 2 years before I got my first payout with TFT, which was last year, February 2023. With TFT, I had 2 payouts, and then I went through 2 dry months, March and April. And then from May onwards, I've not had a single losing month then. So that basically sums up my, yeah.
Wow. In terms of getting those first couple of payouts, was that kind of the point where you started to see some profitability? Do you think that was kind of the catalyst to you snowballing to the success that you've had so far?
Yes, definitely. So the 2 payouts with TFT came about 25,000, and that gave me a lot of confidence as well as much needed capital. I gained very important lessons, especially with trading prop firms, is knowing to lock your payouts. Because during March and April, I went through a very bad streak. It was so bad. I was overconfident. I remember I had 3 funded accounts and had about 45,000 in profits with them. I did not elect to actually just stop and withdraw the profits. But the worst happened. I lost everything, including the accounts. It got me stressed. I was just withdrawing 25,000, and then why am I going back to this losing streak? So gave me a very important lesson on you should never aim for something that is a significant portion of what you already have behind, because if you don't attain it, then psychologically it's going to hit you very, very hard. Yeah, so I think those lessons actually served me very well for those 2 months of March and April last year. And since then, I've been just consistently trying to lock payouts. And as I grew my capital and funding, allowed myself to go for bigger payouts. Yeah.
What kind of kept you going during those dry months when, you were really struggling to get payouts?
I've really unprofitable for over 10 years, and just 2 months of losing is definitely not going to stop me, especially when I've already tasted some form of success, right? Yeah.
All those years that you struggled to become profitable, what kept you going during those years as well?
I always wanted to be a full-time trader. I've never wanted to work 8 to 5. Trading is all about freedom, you know. It's not just about loving the charts, loving trading itself, but it's the lifestyle that being successful in this brings about. Obviously, it's not something overnight, it's not easily achievable, and the learning curve can be quite steep. But now looking back, it's all worth it.
And what do you think was kind of like holding you back from getting to that point of like smooth sailing and profitability?
So the final missing puzzle, the jigsaw was actually my psychology. There's a lot of time where I feel that my analysis of what's going to happen more than often not comes true, but I still realize that I still end up being unprofitable. My psychology will screw me up to the point where I'll end up losing everything eventually. So to explain further, like if I'm losing, then I have the psychology where I want to revenge trade, I want to get it back. If I'm winning, and then I start to think of like something, it's like I let euphoria take over me. Like for example, if I'm making like 2,000 today, and then I'll be starting to think like 2,000 a day, 20 days trading in a month, I can make 40 grand in a month. Like today I make 2,000, tomorrow I'll try to make 2,000 again, and probably I'll make it like 2 or 3 days, and then on the 4th day I didn't start off well, I'm down 1,000, and then because of the psychology that I had, I feel that I should make 2,000 every day. I start thinking that, you know, I have to get this back and get to the 2,000, and then you know, losing streaks occurs. The 1,000 goes to negative 2,000, 4,000, and then I end up chasing my losses. And then eventually, what I've made a total of 6K for the past 3 days, I lose it back all. So that is what I mean by regardless if I'm winning or losing, I had the psychology that eventually it was screwing me up. So realizing what I was doing, how I was thinking, and why I was thinking like this enabled me to start thinking differently and act differently. It was really the final missing puzzle to change me from unprofitable to profitable.
So do you think that prop firms kind of played a role in you becoming as profitable as you have, rather than, you know, beforehand just trading regular broker accounts? Did that like make a very, very big difference in your trading journey?
Definitely, because prop firms, why are we trading on prop firms is because of the, you know, obvious fact that we pay so little for so much leverage. If I were to start all over again with how little money I had at the start of the journey and do it on the brokers, even if I'm profitable, definitely I wouldn't be achieving this kind of profits without prop firms. So yeah, no question about that.
And when you are kind of like analyzing a chart, what kind of lens are you looking at that chart through? But what kind of technicals are you looking at when you're looking to enter the market?
So I get asked this kind of questions pretty often, like what's your strategy and things like this. I would say that I'm not someone that has mechanical rules where, you know, I see a double top, see a double bottom, I see there's a breakout structure, I see that, you know, there's a bearish engulfing candle or whatever before I enter the trade. Nothing like this. I mean, they can be guidelines to how I want to enter a trade, but I believe that trader has to not be a one-trick pony. So for example, I can be trying to, let's take gold for example now. It's been on an uptrend for so long. You know, I may feel that it's overextended. I may want to try to pick the top, end up losing quite a few times before I eventually get the huge drop that happened after the presidential election, and then I'll hold up for a big win that will cover all my slots, small losses. Or I could be trading on the trend with gold on the upside. In the end, it's really based on intuition and experience. You see the chart and then you have kind of like intuition, like I think this looks very familiar and I think it's going up. If I'm going up, if I enter here, where do I think I should put my stop? If I think that the price is like too choppy to probably take me out, I'll probably wait for price to settle down into consolidation for a tighter range where I can more reasonably put my stop loss before I enter the trade and just bet on the expansion that is with my direction. I feel that I don't know, it's very hard to really explain someone's strategy over like 10-20 minutes. I guess this should give the viewers a good idea of how I approach the charts.
And do you find that like your psychology is kind of more difficult because you have a bit less mechanical elements of your strategy? Did it take longer for you to kind of master the way that you trade now because of that? Because a lot of people kind of try to find this mechanical, magical strategy, and it doesn't really necessarily exist. You know, there's always a combination of mechanical rules and discretion. You use quite a lot of discretion and it's not necessarily set rules. Did you then struggle a bit more with psychology when it comes to like holding trades till your final target and those kinds of things?
I guess in a sense, you can say that in the end, I feel that being void of these mechanical rules actually allows me to be more flexible and helps me to adapt to the markets. You cannot expect a mechanical rule to work every time. So even though I have no mechanical rules, of course, I still have my own rules within myself, which is in terms of risk management, very importantly, you should never allow a bad trade to ruin yourself. That is number one. I try to be honest with myself. I try to see myself from a person's point of view. If I'm doing well, then I'll encourage myself to trade more. If I'm doing bad, then I trade less, lower my lot size. Because I believe in streaks as well. You go through winning streaks, you go through losing streaks. When you are going through a losing streak, you don't want that to ruin you. You don't want to allow one bad losing streak to ruin you. So you can be profitable for months and then you just crash out, you go on tilt and everything is gone. So you got to protect what you've gained, right? When you're on a winning streak, you don't want to limit your profits as well. You don't want to like settle for, oh, I just want to aim for 1% a day, 2% a day, which was like what I was thinking in the past, right? Like a set target every day. It's impossible because it's crazy to think of trying to achieve the same target every single day because the market is different every day. So you just got to take like what the markets give you. You got to be honest with yourself if you are you in sync with the market basically. So if I feel that I'm in sync with the market, I go with more confidence until I'm shown otherwise and then I slow down again. Yeah, so basically that's the rule that I have for myself.
Day by day, I've noticed that the whole education side of trading is getting worse and worse and worse. There's a lot more nonsense out there. Getting started today can actually be a little bit more confusing than it was back then. If you had to get started now, like how would you go about learning to trade from scratch now if you were getting started?
Well, I'll probably be going through a lot of YouTube videos and whatnot. Inevitably, I'll still go through a struggling phase because without experience, you cannot tell who is bullshitting and who is giving real value.
Would you say that trial and error is a big part of that process?
Yeah, trial and error, definitely. To sum it up, it's really experience. It's really experience. If you are used to a setup that you are so used to entering and you find that you are consistently taking losses on it, which I had, nowadays when I look at it, it's not easy at the start because you have to switch it or the opposite. Maybe you tell yourself, in the past when I see this, I used to buy. Now I'm seeing this, why don't I function my brain to sell instead? And if I were to sell, how should I place my stop loss? How should I manage my trade? So be more open-minded to like different styles or ways where you can trade. Or if it's really difficult to go around reversing it, then just avoid the setup at all because in the past, the history has told you that it never ends well, right? Mostly never ends well. So that is what I mean by experience.
You mentioned earlier that prop firms played a huge role in your success and becoming as profitable as you have. You've used Quant Tekel for quite a while now and gotten over 97k in withdrawals. What kind of drew you to them? Well, drew you to us. What do you think makes them a little bit different from other prop firms that you've used?
I actually got introduced to Quant Tekel by Withy, the biggest payout holder. What he did in one payout, it took me 6 payouts to reach that figures. I think 80 over 1,000. I knew him from another prop firm's Discord. We chat quite a bit and he was telling me Quant Tekel is great. I have to say I was skeptical at the start when Quant Tekel was running 50%. I didn't know who Quant Tekel was. They were very new and I was skeptical and thanks to Withy, he put off that 80 over grand and he told me more about him and Alex, the owner, tells me great stuff about him, and gave me confidence. So that's when I took the first step to come to Quant Tekel.
And what was your experience like after you took that step?
It's amazing. Since then, I've had a very great relationship with Alex as well, and I'm very thankful for him for giving me this platform and this place to trade. What I like about Quant Tekel is instead of other prop firms, they come in with hidden rules, things like this to screw you up. Quant Tekel have rules that are up front. I know a lot of people they won't be happy with what Quant Tekel actually have now. To be honest, they have some of the hardest rules in the industry, but what I like is you know what's coming on, and if you break the rule, which can be challenging, no doubt, you can't blame the prop firm because it's written there. Rather than, if you trade with a prop firm, there's no rule written on this, there's no risk rule, and then you lose so many times over challenges, failed challenges, and then you finally get to a payout, and then they send you an email where, hey, you're over risking, and I don't think we can fund you your account or give you your payout, things like this. So you never want to go through that kind of stuff. And what I like about Quant Tekel first and foremost is really the value, because I'm a sucker for value on prop firms. For me, prop firms is about, I treat it like a business. So there's expenses and then there's your profits. So you want to keep your expenses as low as possible. And Quant Tekel, they have one of the best values as most people already know out there. Again, this is something like someone will have to weigh for themselves. Would they rather pay more for easier rules, or would they give themselves more room to try on challenges and to get funded with someone like Quant Tekel?
Just before we wrap up here, I just wanted to ask you, you've done so well so far, absolutely insane, over $1 million in prop firm payouts is mad. What are your plans for the future? What do you plan to do going forward? What kind of goals do you have with prop trading?
I'm just going to keep doing the same. Obviously, I'm going to venture into personal accounts as well, but nothing of this scale, because the leverage is so much different. Because on the personal accounts, what you are putting in, you risk entirely, and on the prop firms, you just risk the challenge fees. So while prop firms are still around, even though I'm profitable, even on personal accounts, there's no way I can do it with what I can on prop firms. So definitely, I'll still continue trading with prop firms for the foreseeable future.
Well, Tiltboy, thank you very much for chatting with us today. I think a lot of people learned a lot from your journey, and it's absolutely crazy what you've done so far. So congratulations and thanks for chatting with us, man.
Thanks for having me here today.